The air in Savannah's riverfront club was thick with the scent of magnolia and money. On a humid Sunday morning, the brick courtyard buzzed with the low hum of power tech moguls, venture capitalists, and influencers sipping mimosas under wide linen parasols. The sun glinted off polished silverware, but the real shine came from the people at the tables, each one calculating their next move. At the center of it all sat Eleanor Warwick, CEO of Cypherlock, a cybersecurity firm that had made her a legend in Silicon South. Her tailored cream suit cost more than most people's rent, and her sapphire-encrusted Patek Philippe watch caught the light with every flick of her wrist. Her auburn hair, swept into a flawless chignon, framed a face that radiated control. She laughed just loud enough to draw attention, her voice cutting through the chatter like a well-aimed dart. Around her sat a hand-picked group, a fintech guru from Brussels, a logistics tycoon, and a crypto influencer with a smile too perfect to trust. They weren't here for the shrimp toast. They were here to play the game of influence. Nearby, Marcus Tate balanced a tray of drinks with the ease of someone who'd done it 1,000 times. For 9 months, he'd worked weekend shifts at the club, a side gig to fund his master's thesis at Savannah State. His black uniform was crisp but worn at the cuffs, and his wire-rimmed glasses slipped slightly down his nose. He moved with quiet precision, unnoticed by most, underestimated by all. As he set a cappuccino in front of Eleanor, he said, "Sorry for the wait, ma'am." The barista line backed up. His voice was steady, professional. Eleanor didn't look up. She let the silence stretch, a power move, then flashed a smile that wasn't a smile at all. "Good thing you're not running my servers," she quipped, her tone light but barbed. The table chuckled, not because it was funny, but because Eleanor's words carried weight. Marcus nodded politely and turned to leave, but she wasn't done. "Hold on," she said, raising a manicured hand. She pointed to a crumpled note on the table, passed to her by Hans Verhoeven, the Brussels exec. "Hans scribbled this. Says it's Dutch. Can you read it, Matt?" She mispronounced his name deliberately, her eyes gleaming with challenge. The table laughed louder, sensing blood in the water. Marcus glanced at the note. His face didn't change, no smirk, no hesitation. "May I?" he asked, picking it up. He read it silently, then aloud in flawless Dutch, his pronunciation so precise that Hans sat up straighter. Marcus translated it into English, adding, "The verb leiden should be begeleiden here, given the context of data compliance." His tone was calm, factual, like he was explaining the weather. The table went silent. Hans nodded, impressed. Eleanor's smile froze, her fingers tightening on her glass. Marcus set the note down, gave a curt nod, and walked back to the kitchen, his steps unhurried. The air had shifted, and everyone felt it. Eleanor sipped her cappuccino, but her grip betrayed her. "Well," she said, forcing a laugh, "that's a neat party trick." No one laughed with her. Hans leaned forward, his Belgian accent soft but firm. That was more than a trick. His syntax was perfect. Eleanor tossed her sunglasses onto the table. "If he's so brilliant, why is he serving coffee?" The words hung there, unanswered. Inside the kitchen, Marcus leaned against a counter, wiping his glasses on his apron. His co-worker, Javier, grinned. "You just made Eleanor Warwick look like she flunked high school French." Marcus shrugged. "Wasn't trying to." "She asked," I answered. Javier shook his head. "That's why it hurt." Back at the table, Eleanor tried to steer the conversation to data privacy laws, but the group's focus had drifted. Clara Benson, a venture capitalist, whispered to Hans that kid's got something. Hans was already typing on his phone, drafting a note to his Atlanta office. Eleanor noticed, and it stung. She leaned forward, her voice sharper. "Can we focus? This isn't a job fair." But her words didn't land like they used to. Later, as Marcus delivered plates grabbed Benedict for Clara, salmon for Hans, Eleanor stopped him. "What's your name again?" Her tone was syrupy, a trap. "Marcus Tate," he replied evenly. "And you're studying what?" "At that college." "Computational linguistics," he said. She smirked. "Big words. But context matters, Marcus. Knowing when to speak, when to stay quiet, when to know your place." The table tensed. Clara looked down. Hans frowned. Marcus met her gaze. "If answering your question with respect is out of place, maybe it wasn't a real question." His voice was steady, not loud, just clear. He turned to serve another table, leaving Eleanor stunned. Hans broke the silence. "You didn't overstep?" "You asked?" Eleanor's jaw tightened, but she said nothing. By the next hour, Hans had approached Marcus near the kitchen. You're at Savannah State? Your work on multilingual algorithms, Dr. Ellis's lab. Yes. Marcus blinked. You know it. Hans smiled. I read it. Sharp. Can we talk on Monday? My firm needs minds like yours. Marcus hesitated, then scribbled his number. I'd be honored. Hans nodded. You belong in boardrooms, not behind trays. Across the courtyard, Eleanor watched, her mimosa untouched. Her control was slipping, and she hated it. Monday brought a cold snap to Savannah, but Eleanor was burning inside. At a tech panel, she overheard whispers. That server, Marcus Tate, got a meeting with Verhoeven's firm. Worse, a video of Marcus correcting her Dutch had surfaced online, racking up 300,000 views. The caption read, CEO, schooled by waiter. Comments tore into her. She said, know your place in 2025? Eleanor's panel speech fell flat, and the crowd was polite but distant. An investor later told her, we all misjudge sometimes. The good ones learn. She smiled tightly and left. Marcus, meanwhile, met with Hans's team. They discussed his research, his ideas, and his future. No offer yet, but the vibe was clear. He was wanted. Back at the club, his manager, Ruth, handed him 4 emails praising his professionalism. You're making waves, Marcus, she said. He just nodded, grounded, not gloating. 3 weeks later, Marcus accepted a full-time role at Verhoeven Global, a hybrid job with a salary that changed his life. He gave 2 weeks' notice at the club, trained his replacement, and left with a card from the staff and a $50 gift card to a steakhouse. Walking home, he passed a mural of a blues guitarist, a quote above it. They'll hear you, even if they act deaf. He smiled, feeling seen. Eleanor, in her high-rise office, approved a PR blog post titled, Learning to Listen. It felt hollow, but she had no choice. The brunch video hadn't gone viral, but it had spread in boardrooms. Investors passed on her pitches, citing tone issues. She found Marcus's LinkedIn, multilingual NLP analyst, Verhoeven Global, bridging systems and people. No mention of her. He'd moved on. She hadn't. One night, she drafted an email. Marcus, I misjudged you. She deleted it, knowing some apologies are too late. Marcus settled into his new life, mentoring students at Savannah State, telling them, your worth isn't your job. Don't shrink for anyone. Eleanor kept her empire, but her shine had dulled. People listened less, questioned more. The brunch hadn't ruined her, but it had redefined her. Marcus didn't need applause. He'd won by being himself, steady, real, undeniable. What do you think? Was Eleanor's behavior just a bad moment or a deeper flaw? How do you handle disrespect in your own life? Share your thoughts below, especially on navigating power and fairness. Your perspective matters. Let's hear it.